In this movie, I'll show you a few different ways to format body copy, which is the main text inside of a document. So the first thing I'm going to do is double-click inside any one of these columns of text here in order to automatically switch to the Type tool and position my blinking insertion marker. And then I'm going to select all the text across all of the threaded text frames by going up to the Select menu and choosing the Alt command, or just pressing Control-A here on the PC or Command-A on the Mac. All right, now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in by pressing Control plus or Command plus a couple of times. And now I want to scroll my document so I can see the first paragraph. And you may recall from the navigation chapter that you can't press the spacebar to get the hand tool because that will go ahead and replace all of your text with space characters. So instead, you want to press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and then drag your document like so. All right, the first thing I want to do is adjust some paragraph level formatting attributes by clicking on the word paragraph up here in the control panel. And notice that while my left indent value is 0 and my right indent value is 0, and both of those values, by the way, are going to indent the text on the left and right-hand sides of the column. Our first line indent value is missing because presumably it varies from one paragraph to the next. If we wanted a first line indent, I could enter a value such as 9 points into that field, and then we'd have 9 points of indent for just the first line of each paragraph. But where this text is concerned, that's not the way I want to work. So I'm going to change that value to 0 and then press the Tab key. And so instead of having a first line indent, in order to distinguish one paragraph from another, I'm going to enter space before or space after the paragraph. But I'm going to start by just zeroing out these values so I know what I have to work with. So you can see, if you don't have a first line indent or you don't have some kind of paragraph spacing, then your text is just going to run together. But if I were to just click in the space before value right here and press the up arrow key a few times, you can see that that helps to move those paragraphs apart. And at a value of 5 points, things look pretty great. Now, when you're working with body copy, you can align the text to the left. You generally never want to center it or align it to the right. But while left is okay, it leaves a ragged effect on the right-hand side. If you want to make sure everybody's aligned on the right as well, then you want to switch to one of the Justify options. Most likely, Justify with last line aligned left, which is this fourth setting right here. And that's going to give you this effect with the last line on the left, as we're seeing right here. At which point I'll go ahead and press the Escape key in order to hide that paragraph panel. Now let's take a look at our character formatting attributes by clicking on the word character, and I'm going to change the font, which you can see is already selected, to Minion, so I'm just going to type in M-I-N-I, and that should get me to the various styles of Minion Pro. The one I want is this guy right here that's just called Minion Pro and nothing more. And what that does is it selects the regular style. All right, so having done that, I'm going to dial in a type size value into this very first numeric field, and I'm going to set that type size to 14 points. And by the way, the type size is a container that holds everything from the highest ascenders down to the lowest descenders. And you can get a sense for just how tall that container is by tabbing your way over to the leading value. Now notice when I hover over this little icon here that I can see the tooltip that says set the leading. It's actually leading, because back in the days of hot metal type, they used to insert lead between one line of type and the next. And so leading is the distance between the baseline, the line upon which the type sits, and the next baseline up. So it's essentially the distance between one line of type to the next line of type. If I were to set it to the same value as the type size, we'd end up with solid leading. So a type size of 14 on 14-point leading is solid leading, and we can see how the tops of the ascenders, or at least the top of this capital letter here, is almost touching the bottom of the descender, meaning the bottom of that letter Y. If you want a little more space, as you generally do, then you can click this down pointing arrowhead and switch to Auto. And Auto is going to automatically assign a leading value that's 120% the type size. So notice right now it's 16.8 points. If I was to click in the size value and press the up arrow key to send it up to 15, then the leading value would expand to 18 points. I actually want that letting value to be exactly 17 points, so I'm going to override the current value, and then I'm going to take the type size value back down to what it was, which is 14. All right, finally, we don't want to leave this kerning value set to 0. That is never a good idea. If you ever see that, then go ahead and click this down pointing arrowhead and choose Auto. Auto is going to work great for body copy, and you can see it's slightly adjusting the horizontal positions of all of the selected characters. And for the most legible results, you also want to leave the tracking value set to its default, which is 0, at which point you can go ahead and press the Escape key in order to hide the character panel. And then you can press the Escape key a second time in order to escape the text editing mode and switch back to the black arrow tool, at which point I'll click off the text to deselect it. And now, even if I press Ctrl-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to fit the document on screen, it remains nice and legible even within the context of this video. And those are a few different ways to format body copy here inside Illustrator.